Here to share his global perspectives and broaden your worldview, please welcome Leo Lappalainen.
How many of you can name over 30 countries? 40? 50? Well, on our planet, there are 195 countries. Yeah, 195. Isn't that crazy? In my 17 years of life, I've had the opportunity to live in 4 of these countries: China, Sweden, Saudi Arabia, and of course, the United States. California, where I've now lived for the past 6 years, and where a majority of you are coming from today, is a prime example of why it's so important to broaden your global perspective. California, in the last year, dealt with over 229 foreign markets. But what does that have to do with your global perspective? Well, you hear things in the news all the time about our world, like the trade war happening with China, or a reporter missing in Saudi. Having a broad global perspective allows you to understand what these things mean, not just to you, but to the rest of the world. Like, think about it. Just the manufacturing process for the iPhone, which is in your pocket, I hope, has a process that uses parts from China, Japan, Korea, and Europe. Now, my story takes us to Riyadh, a word in Arabic that means gardens or meadows. Riyadh is not a meadow. Riyadh is a city situated in the country of Saudi Arabia. It is an oasis in the vast desert of the Arabian Peninsula. At least that's what my compound was to me. The compound was named Al-Hamra, a word you might have seen on the label of a water bottle company. It was surrounded with walls topped with barbed wire and security cameras. But inside, a wave pool the size of a football field, a massive facility where you could take up almost any sport, and, most importantly, people from all over the world coming to deal with businesses in the region. Here, I discovered the normalities of everyday life, from my daily karate classes to the Pizza Hut that I ate far more often than I should have. At this point, you might be wondering, what was I doing in Saudi Arabia? Well, my family was there because of my dad's work with telecommunications companies in the region. But I was there with one purpose, or actually, make that a few purposes: to enjoy my McDonald's, to collect the toys from those Happy Meals, and, of course, as any other 7-year-old would, maybe even learn a little bit about how interconnected our world economies are. I garnered my first experience of world trade when my friend, Max, who had come all the way from Britain, decided that he wanted to buy my McDonald's toys. All of them. So me, realizing that I no longer wanted them, I sold them all to him. I sold all 13 plastic toys to him for the price of 100 riyals, or about 25 US dollars. His business partners, or parents, however you want to see it, weren't too happy about the sale. And it led to a multilateral trade agreement involving my Finnish mother and his British family. For the record, I walked out of this deal with 100 riyals in my pocket. Little did I know, as a 7-year-old struggling to play the recorder and struggling to learn Arabic, that this variety of peoples, Australians, Pakistani, Arabians in the region, British, and so many other people, were connected, not just by the school that we went to, but also by the increasing overlap of the economies of our nations. And recognizing this has been so important. And what it's led me to realize is that we don't live in our own bubbles, but instead, we're a world of overlapping economies. So you all are at a point where you're either in the workforce or you're going to be soon. And you have to ask yourself, what will be or is my role in the global economy? Because having that broad global perspective, having that understanding that you are a citizen of the world, might lead you to realize how something in the news affects your life and how best to act on it by doing something as simple as voting. I myself have garnered one such experience. Just 3 years ago, a friend of mine, Yahya, who I had met in Saudi Arabia and now lives in Michigan, came to visit me, and it was, and still is, so compelling to think that not so long ago, he and I were just two friends playing Bakugan in a country more than 8,000 miles away. But that's not what is important. Because seeing him flooded me with memories of breaking my arm for the first time and dousing myself in oil to swim faster, because I thought that's what polar bears did. But that's not my point, because as you can see, I'm not a polar bear. And what matters is that these experiences that have stuck with me all my life still light that desire to explore new countries and live in new places to experience new communities. So my message to you is this: of the 195 countries in the world, you live in the one with the world's largest economy. And of those 50 states, you live in the state with its economy built on forming those connections with the rest of the world. So realize this: we are not 195 isolated nations, but a world of overlapping economies. And to be a part of that, to be a part of what is so much larger than just the bubble of St. Francis, you have to go out and gather these experiences so that you can connect with the world deeper. In fact, I can help you with this right now. How many of you have lived somewhere other than the Silicon Valley? What about California? America? See? Right here, right around you, there are so many individuals to connect with. So go out and talk to these people. You'll never know what you'll learn about these people and the countries that they've been to. Thank you.